Ma'am, shall I start, ma'am? A very good evening to one and all present here. To begin today's program on a meaningful note, let us seek divine grace and guidance. Let us start today's session with prayer song.
Monica? Monica?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, prayer song. We are waiting for prayer song, Monica.
Okay.
It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Enhanced Research Skills program organized by the PG and Research Center of Commerce. Research plays a vital role in developing analytical thinking and academic excellence. Today's session aims to strengthen these essential skills. I extend a warm welcome to our respected principal, head of the department, faculty members, and our esteemed resource person, and all dear students. Now, I invite Dr. C. Lucia Vanita, Associate Professor, PG and Research Department of Commerce, Fatima College, to deliver the welcome address. I request you to take over, ma'am.
Thank you. A very good evening to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a warm and cordial welcome to you all to this second day online workshop on enhancing research skills organized by PG and Research Department of Commerce in association with LKP Academy on the important and relevant topic research design. Though we are connected virtually, the enthusiasm, commitment to learning, and academic spirit unite us on a common platform today. We are truly honored to have Dr. Patan Ferdos Khan with us as the chief guest on this online workshop for the second day. A distinguished academician and a researcher in the field of computer science and engineering, currently serving as assistant professor at Mohan Babu University, Tirupati. Dr. Fedos Khan brings with him rich experience in teaching, research publications, patents, and academic leadership. His insights into research methodology and design will undoubtedly guide our participants in structuring systematic, meaningful, and impactful research. Research design is the backbone of any successful research study. It provides a roadmap for identifying research problems, choosing appropriate methods, collecting reliable data, and drawing valid conclusions. In today's fast changing academic and research environment, a strong understanding of research design is essential for students, scholars, and faculty members. We are confident that this seminar will offer valuable clarity and practical guidance to all participants. I take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to the Secretary of our college for the constant support and encouragement extended towards organizing such academically enriching programs. Also, extend my heartfelt thanks to our principal, whose academic leadership and guidance continue to inspire us to promote research culture and lifelong learning. I warmly welcome all the participants who have joined us from different institutions and locations. Your active participation on this online workshop reflects your keen interest in research and professional development. I would like to appreciate the efforts of the organizing committee, faculty coordinators, and technical team whose dedication has made this smooth conduct of this online workshop possible. With these words, once again, I extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Patan Fedos Khan, respected secretary, principal, and all our participants. May this online seminar be insightful, interactive, and intellectually rewarding. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your energetic words of welcome. Now, I invite our esteemed resource person for today's session, Mr. Patan Feridos Khan, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, Mohan Babu University, Andhra Pradesh, who will guide us through today's session to present on a title Research Design.
Thank you, Ma. Good evening, one and all. Is my voice is audible, Ma?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You're audible.
Yeah. 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 Do you screen? My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, no.
So thanks to Lucia Madam and all the organizers for inviting me for this workshop, one day workshop on research design. So before going to start, I will introduce myself. I am Patan Firdaus Khan, working as an assistant professor in the Department of CSE, Mohan Babu University. So totally 20 years of experience I am having. So mainly research is regarding the machine learning, artificial intelligence, and the IoT. So first, first we're going to start about what is meant by research. The purpose of research is to discover the answer to the question through the application of scientific procedure. So there are the two scientists are there, mainly the Redman and the Mori. They have explained the research as systemized effort to gain the new knowledge. Systemized effort to gain the new knowledge. How we are going to be gain the new knowledge by the purpose of research to discover the answer the questions. Here we have to discover the answers to the question. Different types of question we have to discover the answer through the applications of scientific procedure. What type of applications we have been used. So here we are going to discuss the flow of the research process cycle. So this research process cycle we are having the different stages are there. The very first stage is identifying the research problem. Next one is the reviewing the literature. Next one is the specifying the purpose of research. Next is the collecting the data. Next is the analyzing and interpreting the data. And the last step is reporting and evaluating the research. These are the different steps in the research process cycle. These are the different steps in the research process cycle. The very first step is very important. That is, we are going to be identify the problem, identifying the research problem. The identifying the research problem is a main step. So here in this identifying the research problem, we are going to be identify the problem, what we are going to be specifying the problem. Then in this specifying the problem, what we are going to justify regarding that problem. After justification, we are going to be suggest what should we need to study for the audience. So first identifying the research problem. Here we have to specify the problem. What is the problem and how to solve those problem and what type of justification are going to give that problem. And finally, we have to give the suggestion for the need to study for the audience. That is a main step for the research process cycle. And coming to the second step is reviewing the literature survey. So reviewing the literature survey, once first identifying the research problem, then next one is reviewing the literature survey. In this literature survey, we have to locate the resources. So we have to locate the resources from where we are going to be extract the resources, where we are going to locate those resources, everything. Next, selecting the resources from the whatever the resources we have been extracted, then we have to go to the select the resources also. And summarizing the report. Summarizing the report, we have to take the summarized report. So we have to collect all those raw data. In that raw data, we are going to be summarize the resources. In this reviewing the literature survey, first we have to locate the resources, selecting the resources, and summarizing the resources. The first step is identifying the research problem. Second one is reviewing the literature survey, and the third problem is third step is specifying the purpose for the research. Specifying the purpose of research. What is the purpose we are going to do the research? So in that we are going to discuss about the identify the purpose statement. What is the purpose of your statement? Narrowing the purpose statement to research questions or any hypothesis. So what is a purpose statement? In the research questioning, continuously we have to question what is the purpose we are going to be doing everything. And we have to identify the what is the purpose, what is the purpose we are going to be doing that statement. So specifying the purpose for the research, so we have to identify the purpose statement and narrowing the purpose statement to research questions or any hypothesis. Next step is collecting the data. So this collecting data is also very important. In this, we are going to collect the what type of selecting the individual to the study, selecting the individual to study, obtaining the permissions, gathering the informations. So in this collecting the data, we have to select the individual to the study. So different modules we are having. In that we have to read out the different modules individually. Obtaining the permissions. Is there any permissions to read anything? And gather the information. So gathering the information is another important task. We can gather the information. From that gather information, we can collect all the raw data. In that raw data, we have to take the specific purpose we have. So collecting the data in that is selecting the individual to study to obtain permissions and the gathering of the information. Next step is analyzing and interpreting the data. In this analyzing and interpreting the data, breaking down the data. So here the breaking of the data in the sense we are in this module is that here we are going to be breaking those module individually. Why at a time we can't solve those one module at a time. So we have to break the data individual purpose. Then represent those data and explaining those data. So breaking the data, after breaking the data, we have to represent those data. And finally, we have to give the justification to the data, why we are going to be break down the data. And the last step is reporting and evaluating the research. In this report and the evaluating research, well, we have to decide the audience, structuring the report, writing the report sensitively. So reporting and evaluating the research. So here we have to structure the report. Report in the sense the thesis part. So here we are going to be write the report sensitively. So it is a major one actually. The so here we are going to be structure the report. We have to write down the report sensitively. So these are the 6 steps for the research process cycle. The very first one is identifying the research problem. Second one is reviewing the literature survey. Third one is specifying the purpose for the research. And the fourth one is collecting the data. And the fifth one is analyzing and interpreting the data. And the last step is reporting and evaluating the research. So these are the different steps for the process cycle. Coming to the next slide. So in this next slide, research, here we are going to discuss about the research design qualitative approach. Finally, the research design quantitative approach, qualitative approach, and the last one is a quantitative approach. In this research design theory, what are the functions, what are the essential elements, and the key characteristics, and the steps in the research designs. So in this research design, we have going to be find out the functions, what are the functions that have been used, and the essential elements, and the characteristics, what are the key characteristics that can be used, and the steps in the research design. And coming to the qualitative approach, in this qualitative approach, grounded theory, ethnographies, narrative research, and the case studies. So in this qualitative approach, the main one is the case studies. So what you have learned, what you are going to be present, so that a case study. And the last one is a quantitative approach. In this quantitative approach, experimental research design, action research design, survey research design, correlation research design. In this experimental research design, what type of experiments have you done, what is the output, everything. Then action, what type of action has been taken. And survey research design, what you have done the survey and what is the survey report regarding to that. And correlation research design, So the research design in the qualitative approach, and finally the research design in the quantitative approach. Next, what is actually a research design? What is meant by a research design? So the research design, it is a defined as a framework for research methods and the techniques applied by a researcher to incorporate the different elements or the components of the research in a systematic manner with a view to operate research problem efficiently. So the research defined as a framework of the research methods and the techniques. It is the frameworks of the research methods and the techniques which is going to be applied by the researchers or the scholars that incorporate the different elements and the components of that particular research in a systematic manner in order to operate the research problem efficiently. How we are going to be design a research and how we are going to be solve those research problem efficiently. So most significantly, all the research designs provides the insight how to conduct a research using the particular research methodologies. So what type of research methodologies has been used? Okay, like that. So the main aim of this research design to find out the answers to the research questions. So what type of questions, and then coming to the relevant answers to the particular questions. The key points that are going to be split the parts of the overall research design are, so the what is the study about, why we are going to study, where will be the study will be carried out, what type of data is required, where can the required data can be found, what type of period of time will the time to include, what will be the sample design, what techniques of data collections will be used, how will this data be analyzed, in what style will be the report can be prepared. So the key point to split the parts for overall research design on. So first we have different key points has been, question is arises. What is the study? Why the study is going to be taken? Where the study be carried out? What type of data is when used? Where this data can be found? At what time of period this data can be included? What is the sample design? What are the techniques of data collection can be used? How these data can be analyzed? These are the different points can be arises while doing the research. Yeah. The functions of the research design is a blueprint to the researcher. So, for example, if you take what is for the blueprint, I'm going to give you an example. What is the researcher about? What kind of data required to resolve the research questions? Where to collect the required data and the information? The study area, the time, like this. So the research design, it is going to provide a blueprint to the researcher. So like what type of blueprints we are going to provide means, what is the research is about, what kind of data that will resolve research questions, like this. Then research design determine an outline of the research work that the researchers can be concentrated fully on the study. The research design helps the researchers to resolve many shortcomings before the study starts. So before the study starts, the research design helps the researchers to solve many shortcomings before the study start. This is possible through the proper the review of the literature. Once the literature is done, review literature is done, then the research design that particular part can be done very easily. So once the literature survey is the most care we have to take while writing the literature survey. Once the literature survey is done means almost all your next stage of the research design can be done very easily. What are the elements, the characteristics of the research design? So the research design, the characteristics are accurate purpose statement, techniques to be implemented for collecting and analyzing the research, the methods applied for analyzing the collected details, what are the types of the research methodologies, probable objections for the research, study for the settings for the research study, and the timeline. So the essential elements or the characteristics or the elements of research design are the accurate purpose statement. What is the accurate for the particular statement? What are the techniques that are going to be implemented, and what are the methods that are going to be incorporated, and what are the types of research technology that has been used? What are the problem objections for this research? What are the settings for the research study and the timeline? Next. So, how we are going to be create a research design? So, creating a research design means making the decisions about overall aims and the approach, the type of research design you will use, how you will select the participants or the subjects, data collection methods, the procedure you follow to collect the data analysis, and the strategies. So how we are going to be create research design? So here we are going to be some key points has been discussed. What is the overall aim and the approach? What is the aim and what is the approach? Everything how we are going to use. The type of research design you will use. The data collection methods. How we are going to be select the participants. The procedures you are going to be followed to collect the data analysis strategies. So steps in the research design, mainly there are the 6 steps are there. The very first step is consider in the sense what is the aim and the approach of that particular research. And the second step is choose the type of research design, what type of the research design has been used. And third one is identify in the sense population and the sampling methods. So sampling methods, the identification is very important. So samples mean how many samples has been tested and what output like that. And the choose means the data collection methods we have to choose which method has been used. Plan in the sense the data collection procedure. The last step is decide data analysis strategies. So the steps in the research design are the first consider. Consider in the sense the aim and the approaches. So the aim, what is the aim? What is the aim and the approach? What type of research design have been used? And the next step is identify the population and the sampling methods, and choose the collection methods. From the we have to choose the collection methods and plan according to those methods and decide what data analysis strategies we used. So the coming to the first step is consider your aim and the approach. Before you can start designing and your research, you should already have a clear idea on the research questions that you want to register, investigate. So before you're going to start the designing, before you are going to start the designing your research, you should already have idea regarding the research question which we want to going to be investigate. The research ideas always comes from the variety of resources. What type of resources in the sense informal observations, practical problems, previous researches. So research ideas will always comes from the previous sources. What are the sources in the sense? Informal observations, formally what I observed from the problem. Practical problems, what are the problems that are going to be practically, and the previous researchers. So we have to download the previous research problems and what are the research. Everything. It is important to evaluate how interesting a research question is before the designing a study and collecting the data to answer it. It is important to evaluate how interesting a research question is before designing a study and collecting the data to answer it. It is also most important to evaluate how feasible a research question will be answered. How it is also important to evaluate how feasible a research can be will to be answered. Next, the factors that affect the feasibility includes the time, money, technical knowledge, and the skills, and access to the special equipments and the research participant. So the step one is consider your aim and the approaches. So what is your aim and how we are going to be achieve those particular problem or an aim. So before going to be start designing any researches, we have to follow the basic ideas. What type of ideas? Research ideas means in the sense informal observations, practical problems, previous researches. Always it is important to evaluate how feasible a research question will be answered. Coming to the exercise, so in this the practice, the generate the five research idea based on the following example. So informal observation, what we have observed, practical problem, what are the practical problems has been came, and the topic discussed in the recent issues in the professional journals. So any recent issues journals regarding our ideas. So that is the step one. The step one is a consider your aim and the support. Coming to the step two. So step two is a consider a type of research design. Consider the consider the type of research design. So consider the type of research design in the sense it broadly can be categorized into the three types. What are those three types? So first one, exploring the research is usually conducted when a research has just begun an investigation and wish to understand the topic generally. First, we have to explore the research, which is usually conducted when a researcher has just begun an investigation to understand the topic generally. Descriptive research aim to describe or define the topic at hand. Explanatory research is aimed to explain why particularly phenomena work in the way what they have done. So, the step two is choosing the type of research in the design. So, how we are going to be choose and any research design is, so it can be categorized into three types. First one is exploring the research, and second one is descriptive research, and third one is explanatory research. First one is the exploratory research, which comes under the understanding the topic generally, and descriptive research that which comes under the defining the topic, and the third one is the explanatory research, which is used comes from the explaining the why particular phenomena is going to be worked. So the types of research design, descriptive research, as the name implies, this is an in-depth sort of research design that answers what. So these exploratory descriptive research that comes under the what question, what, why, right? So the exploratory research, this sort of research explores the subject matter and answer what, how, and like feasibility studies. What? Just a minute. Uh, these exploratory these exploratory research that comes under the subject matters what and how. These are the feasibility studies. And explanatory research that comes under the what, why, and how, like this. So the descriptive research, it comes under the what category, and exploratory research that comes under the what and how category, and explanatory research that comes under the what, how, why, like this categories. Different types of category. What is the research and how it is going to be solved and why we are going to be doing this research, everything like this. what, how, why these questions can be arises. And different types of research designs. So these research design, so quantitative research design, qualitative research design, mixed method research design. There are there are three types of categories in the research design. First one is a quantitative research design. Second one is a qualitative research design. Third one is a mixed method research design. So these are the three different types of research design. So in this diagram, I have given the quantitative. The name represents the quantity, how much quantity like this, and the quality in that quantity, how much efficient quality has been. And mixed method is a combination of both quantity and quality together. Next, step three. The step two has completed. The step two is choose a type of research design. And the step one is consider your aim and approach. Step two is choose the type of research design. And coming to the step three, identify your population and the sampling methods. You have to identify the populations. In that populations, you have to find out how samples has been, how many sampling has been done. Next. So in this step three, so I have given the differences between the population versus sample. So in the first one, I have given the advertisement for an IT job in the India population. So the sample, the top 50 search result for advertisement IT jobs in India, May 1st, 2020. Next one, the songs from the K-pop song contest. Here the samples are the winning the songs from the K-pop song context. All countries of India, countries with published data available on the birth rate since 2000. Undergraduate students in the Netherlands, 300 undergraduate students from the three Dutch university who voluntarily for your psychology research study. So the population is entire. In that population, we are going to be take some samples. So populations, coming to the next one is the samples. So how these sampling methods can be done? By probability samplings and the non-probability samplings. So the probability sampling is the most statistically valid option, but it often difficult to achieve unless you are dealing with a very small and accessible population. The benefits, coming to the benefits of these probability sampling methods, is that they guarantee that the sample chosen is a representative of the population. It ensures that the statistical conclusions will be the valid. So the probability sampling methods, the different types of probability sampling methods are simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, and systematic random sampling. So some of the methods are there, that is a non-probability samples are there. Those are known as voluntary samples and the convenience samples. So step three is completed. Step three is identify your population, and coming to the step four. The step four is very that is we are going to be identify the data collection methods. Here we are going to be identify the data collection methods. So in these data collection methods, the first one is the forms and the questionnaires. Next one is the interview. Third one is the observations. Fourth one is the document and records. Fifth one is the focus groups. Sixth is the oral histories. Seventh is the combinational research. Eight is the online tracking. Ninth is the online marketing analytics. Tenth is the social media monitoring. So the data collection methods can be come from the different sources, forms and the questionnaires. That's another source, and through the interviews, another source, and through the observations, and through from the documents and the records, focus groups, oral histories, combinational research, social media monitoring. These are the different methods in which we can obtain the data. In these data collections, the questions like this, identify the question what you want to answer. So before going to be start, first you identify the question. Determine what type of data is that is available and how much data is needed and how to those measure those data. Decide who is going to be collect those data. Determine where the data will be collected from. Decide whether to measure sample or a whole population. Determine in which format the data can be displayed. So different types of questions can be obtained from this data collection. First, you have to identify the question which you want to answer, what type of data that is available, and how much of data is needed, and how to measure those data, and how we are going to be collect those data, where the data is collected from, whether to measure the sample, whether the data is measured from the sample or the whole, or determine the what format the data can be displayed. And the fifth step is a plan data collection procedure. Plan data collection procedure. Planning the systematic procedure is essential important in quantitative research, where we need to precisely define the variable and ensure our measurements are reliable and valid. Plan the data collection procedure. Planning the systematic procedure is essential, especially important in quantitative research, where we need to precisely define the variable and ensure our measurements are reliable and valid. Reliability and validity. What is meant by reliability and validity? Reliability means where the results can be consistently reproduced. How many times we are giving it means all time it will give the consistent same result. Validity means here with the actual measuring the concept which we are going to be interested in. So the in this slide I have given the differences between the reliability and the validity. Does your measure capture the same concept consistently over the time? Do your the measurement material test all the aspects of the concept? What it produce the same result in the different context? Does it relate with the different measures of the same concept? Do all the question measure the exact the same concept? And the last step is step 6 is the decide on your data analysis strategies. In this decision making, we are going to do with the quantitative data analysis. Quantitative data analysis. The quantitative data analysis, the variability of the data. The variability means the standard deviation to describe the how spread of the scores are. The specific calculations that we can depend on the level of measurements of your variables. Test hypothesis about the relationships between the variables. Regression and the correlation test that supports for the association between two or more variables. That means the comparison test can be taken. What type of comparison test? Either you can use the t-test or ANOVA, z-test, different types of test. And in this quantitative data analysis, we are going to test with this z-test or t-test, ANOVA like this. Coming to the qualitative data analysis, here we have the two important approaches that they are doing is semantic analysis and discourse analysis. Semantic analysis and the discourse analysis. And these the four types of analytics. The four types of analytics are descriptive, what is going to be happening, the correct data, effective exploring the data analysis. Next one is a diagnostic, why is it is happened, finding the cause, separating all the patterns. Third one is a predictive, what is likely to be happen, choosing the right algorithm, building the right business strategies. The last one is a prescriptive. What do I need to do using the advanced analytics? So the four types of analytics. Descriptive. What is happening? We have to collect the data, exploring the data analysis. Second one is a diagnosis. We have to find the cause. What is the cause? We have to separate all those patterns. And the last one is third one is a predictive. So choosing the right algorithm. So different algorithms we use, but in that we have to find out the which algorithm we have to use. And the last one is a prescriptive, using the advanced analytics. Next. So the purpose of qualitative approach and the quantitative approach. So I have given in this slide, I have given the differences between qualitative approach and the quantitative approach. So in this qualitative approach, understand the subjective experience, belief, and the concept. We have to understand the subject, experience, beliefs, and the concept. Quantitative approach measure the variables and describe the frequency, average, and the correlations. So the quantitative means the quantity. The quality means in that quantity we are going to be select this specific quality. So gain in the depth knowledge of a specific context or a culture. Here the test the hypothesis about the relationship between the variables. So the 8 different research designs are quantitative, qualitative, mixed methods. So the experimental design that comes under the quantitative, while the grounded theory it is qualitative, and the mixed survey research design that comes under the mixed methods. So I have to discuss the 8 research design. 8 are the experimental design, correlation design, grounded theory, ethnographics, narrative research, case study, survey research design, action research design. The experimental design and the correlation design that comes under the quantitative, while grounded theory, ethnographics, narrative research, and the case study that comes under the qualitative, and while survey research design, action research design that comes under the mixed methods. So the research design, we are going to be qualitative approach. So in this qualitative research approach, the different types of subcategories are the narrative research, grounded theory, ethnographics, and the case studies. So first is a narrative research. So the narrative research is a design of inquiry from the humanities in which the researcher studies the lives of individual and ask one or more individual to provide stories about their lives. So the narrative research, it is a design of the enquiries from the humans, in which their life, how their life has been led, and some stories about your lives like this. Then grounded theory. See, this grounded theory, it is going to be designed the inquiry from the sociology, in which researchers derive a general abstract theory of a process, action, or interaction. Next one is ethnography. Ethnography, it is while the researcher studies about the shared pattern of the behavior, languages, and the actions that impact the cultural groups. And finally, the case study. So the case study, it is a design in which researcher develops a in-depth analysis of a case, often a program, event, activity, process, or one or more individual. So the case study, it is going to be design and inquiry found in many fields, such as often a program, event, activity, or any other individual. So research design, excuse me. So the research design quantitative approach. So the research design quantitative approach, experimental design. In this experimental design, It is a specific treatment, influence, and outcomes. The research accesses this by providing the specific treatment to one group while holding the another, then determining the how both groups can be scored on a same marks. Then experimental design. In this experimental design, it takes the test idea or a practice or a procedure which is used to determine the effects of an outcome. This experimental research is usually undertaken when the goal of the research is to trace cause and effect relationship between them. Finally, the conclusion. The experimental, what do these studies will take you? The experimental research allows the researchers to control the situation. In so, it allows the researcher to answer the question, what caused something to occur? And it also permits the researcher to identify the cause and affect the relationship between the variables. And the next one is the experimental research design supports the ability to limit alternative explanation. And finally, the approach provides the highest level of evidences for a single studies. So after concluding all these experimental research design, what we are going to study is what the cause something to occur and identify the cause and the effect relationship, ability to limit the alternative explanation, the highest level of evidences for a single studies. Next, the action research. The action research planning, identifying the for the informing the organizing, acting, trailing the collecting the questions, observing, analyzing, reflecting, evaluating, implementing, revisiting. So the purpose of this action research, can I stop it, man? Organizers? Hello? Okay, 2 minutes more. So, so examples in the action research are, when do we use the action research? We use the action research when we have specific educational problems. Within the scope of a school, action research offers as means for the staff development. The survey research, what will the survey research is going to be tell us? Asking the structured questions, print or the online surveys, telephone surveys, structured face-to-face surveys. And survey researchers. The survey researchers, what the survey research is going to be tell you? It is going to be provide quantitative or numeric descriptions of a trend, attitudes or the opinions of a population by studying the sample of that population. It includes cross-sectional and a longitudinal studies using the questionnaires or a structured interviews for the data collection. So the what is the cross-sectional and a longitudinal? 1 point in time, longitudinal is 7 points in time. Different samples we are used in the cross-sectional, in the longitudinal same sample. Snapshot for the given point in time. Here the change in the individual levels. So these are all different types of the survey designs. That is longitudinal and the cross sectionals. And this is the survey research design conclusion, correlation research. So the last slide is a research design summary, grounded theories, ethnographic theories, and the experimental designs and action research. Thank you, ma, organizers.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable session and for sharing your wisdom with our students. It was highly informative and enlightening. Thank you, sir. I kindly request all the participants to be ready for a quick photo session. I kindly request all the participants to turn on your video.
Harini, all are these research scholars are final students.
So, all the UG and PG students, sir.
UG and PG. From which college?
Fatima College, sir.
Fatima College. Chennai, yeah?
Madurai, sir.
Madurai. Okay. Can I close the session? Have taken the screenshot?
No, sir. I request all the
Carry on,
participants
carry
to
on.
turn on your video.
Yes, sir. Over, you can proceed.
Okay, ma'am. Now we move on to clearing doubt session. Where participants can freely ask questions and get clarifications from the resource person. Please feel free to unmute or use the chat box to share your doubts.
ஹலோ மேம் என்ன யாராவது ரெஸ்பாண்ட் பண்ணாங்களா? ஒன்றும் பண்ணலையா? ஓ அப்படி சொல்றான். சரி, ஓகே ஓகே. ஏன்னா நானு ஓகே
Okay, ma. Can I close it, ma? Harini?
ஓகே. நெக்ஸ்ட் அதுதான் பண்ண போறேன். ஏன்னா அதோட அமௌண்ட் எல்லாமே அதிகமா தான் வரும்.
Harini, you can go for formal vote of thanks.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for our resource person for the clear and interactive doubt clearing session. Now I request Ms. Darshana, second MCOM, to deliver the vote of thanks.
அது உங்களுக்கு இதுலயும் வரும். ஐடிபி வெப்சைட் ஓபன் பண்ணா வந்து ஃபோக்கஸ்ல இண்டெக்ஸ் ஆகும். சோ உங்களுக்கு வந்து இது growth இருந்துட்டு இருக்கும். ஏதோ ஒரு டச்ல இருக்கும்.
It gives me immense pleasure and honor to deliver vote of thanks for this meaningful session on behalf of PG and Research Center of Commerce. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. With that spirit, I begin by thanking the Almighty God for His grace, guidance, and blessings. First and foremost, my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Patan Saidos Khan, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Mohan Babu University, Andhra Pradesh, for graciously accepting our invitation and for sharing your knowledge and research insights that truly enrich this session. I express my sincere thanks to our respected secretary, Dr. Sister Ignatius Mary, for her constant encouragement and visionary leadership. My profound gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Sister Fatima Mary, for her guidance and motivations. I express my sincere gratitude to our vice principals, Dr. Sister J. Arul Mary and Mrs. S. Vidya Shift 1, Dr. Sister Bindu Anthony and Mrs. Nikila Raghavan Shift 2 for their motivations and contributions. I convey my heartfelt thanks to our respected head of the department, Dr. Fatima Roslin Mary, for her guidance, coordination, and encouragement. I also extend my sincere thanks to all the teachers for their dedication and valuable contributions. I respectfully extend my gratitude to LKP Academy for their support and association. My special thanks to all the students whose enthusiastic participation efforts added life and success to this session. Once again, I thank our chief guest, Mr. Patan Faridos Konsar, for being with us today. Thank you all for being a part of this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Darshana, for your gratitude and appreciation for the participation. With this, we come to the conclusion of today's program. We sincerely thank you, everyone, who contributed to the success of this event. Your active participation and support and cooperation made this program truly meaningful. Once again, thank you all, and we look forward to your continued association in the future. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.